Draft 2 on the board, so we're going to cut that conversation short and get ourselves into game. LGD lose this game, they can say goodbye to playoffs. OMG, they seal this, it puts them onto a pretty good road, actually, towards potentially playoffs themselves. You've got a lot of teams potentially angling towards that 10th place spot, and this is one of the teams on that shortlist. Once again, very heavy bot side bans, but this time the Viego hits the ban list. I don't understand how this got through in the first draft.
Immediately out. There's Senna up, Senna first picked, straight on through, can go towards support or AD carry, largely the fasting variants we've seen that being the most successful, so likely looking at that. What is the response, especially considering Smolder's not there? There is Draven up though, I suppose, so maybe they're feeling like that could be a lock-in. Twitch would be hilarious.
So, this has been banned against OMG before, and I was wondering whether I get locked in, and it has! Let's get the rats in chat. Abel locks in Twitch, the first one of 2024, as far as I'm aware. I'm not seen in another major region. When you're picking something like the Senna or the Smolder, which wants to scale up through laning phase, you allow Twitch onto the table. Now, I'm so interested to see how OMG can use this AD carry assassin in the bot side.
And the other thing we've got to track is, like, we are expecting AD carry Twitch, but of course, you know, Twitch has famously been AP variants, AD variants in the jungle, occasionally in support, particularly last year when Carrier was running some wild stuff. So there's still a world where it all ends up in weird locations. Locking a Renata here as well can be pretty good into some of this. Your ability to turn the enemy against you can feel real good.
Now, one of the things is that the Renata bailout gives you extra move speed and attack speed over time. It ramps up. So if you go invisible and then the Twitch pops out with full attack speed, the Q popping as well, you get an absurd amount of stats. If you step out of position as this Senna trying to pick up souls or roam across the map, you are going to get absolutely blasted. And if the Nautilus ever leaves the Senna and has to go on their own kind of roaming journey, that is going to be so dangerous for them. I'm looking forward to this so much. On the other side though, there is a Nautilus ult, there is a flanking Aatrox which Birdall has been so destructive on. LGD, they do have tools to shut this down. It is just very dangerous if this Twitch gets ahead and can get access to the Senna.
And one of the big questions for a lot of teams is how on earth do we deal with Senna? Smolder has felt like something of an anti-basic because you just outdo her stacking. You get gold and stack while you're doing it, whereas poor old Senna has to choose a little bit between gold or stacks. Twisted Fate locked in. On the other side, you've now got a very lethal pick combo. TF gold card, Twitch turns up out of nowhere, person dies.
Oh my gosh. You're going to pop that ultimate, and if the Aatrox is even... Well, I think, yeah, this is now a point where if LGD are not stirred as every single person in the same spot, they are going to get torn apart to level 6. LGD, they now need to think about what they can do as cross-mapping, what they can do to deny this kind of double kind of pick combo coming out of nowhere and blowing up. You need to answer somewhere else on the map. You can see that LGD, if they've locked in a little bit of tank with the Rel, the Nautilus can help too. The Corki's trying to play at range. You can at least Valkyrie out of the way of danger, but this is so dangerous now to walk onto the map.
I'm seeing the Nidalee hover, and that would be very nasty potentially with the ability to follow up on the invades with Invisible Twitch. And of course the Twisted Fate's been buffed, but again, it is just a hover. It is now locked in. We have got Nidalee, TF, Twitch AD carry. OMG have gone into the kitchen and they've come out with something a little avant-garde. It's getting a Michelin star, or is it going straight in the bin?
Just confirmed as well, this is the first major region Twitch of 2024. This champion has been off the table for a very long time, and you know, what's better if you're cooking than a little bit of ratatouille to back you up as well. OMG have completely gone back to their old ways. OMG were the innovators in the LPL. They did the weird shit. They ended up locking in the different combos compared to LPL last year, and though they didn't ever make it through to international competition, this team shaped the way that the LPL played. It's a different roster now. It's very much the same kind of coaching staff though, and even though the top side has changed, they are still bringing some of that old flair. It is comfort in their innovation. I am so excited to see how this works out.
Oh my days, this will be so interesting to watch. Of course, we've got to keep our eyes on the level 1s because Twitch famously can turn up in any lane with that Q at the level 1-2. It's what makes jungle Twitch so bloody annoying, as Red Pluff plus Halo Blaze doing a lot of work. We don't even know what variant of the Twitch we're seeing. Is this going to be AP? Is this going to be AD? We just have to wait and see what the decisions that are being made here, because there's a lot still to unpack.
I think we might have to do a bit of delving into some of those websites in the background and say, what has Abel been playing and on his solo queue and elsewhere? Maybe we can take some inspiration from elsewhere too as well, seeing who's been picking that one up. Either way though, first major region Twitch of 2024. Get those rats in chat, call them out from beneath the floorboards. Get them to see if they can shut down LGD. Again, if LGD lose this game, and against all of this cooking, all of this different stuff, they are out of playoffs pretty much. 9 wins, 9 losses rather. That is so dangerous to land yourself at. OMG, they really throwing a curveball here.
Okay. Here we are with a very different draft from both teams. I don't even know really where to start. I think probably has to be with OMG's early game, because they are the ones with the Nidalee, they are the ones with the TF Twitch. They are going to want to try and make as aggressive a moves as you possibly can. The other question then has to become a little bit of, where does Xiaofeng turn up with the Nidalee? You've got really easy setup with the Twisted Fate. Nidalee's always been better when someone can just point and click stun someone, so the javelin toss hits perfectly fine.
So, you can see that there's the Ghost and there's the Lethal Tempo. It's not going to be Halo Blades. If you're going for AP Twitch, typically we see the Halo Blades for very quick stacking up to the max stacks of the Expunge on that E, and then you kind of get the full AP damage. So it's not going to be that, and given the amount of magic damage on the rest of the team, that makes a lot of sense anyway. So I'm going to expect that we're going to see either the Kraken Slayer or the Blade first, and then we're going to go into something like a Hurricane a little bit later. That Hurricane, of course, really does open up your ability to just smash through the fight. You don't have a Braum Shield or anything to block out the spray and pray as it comes in later into that game as well. Now, the Sand and Nautilus is actually quite strong in early laning phase, but it's not necessarily your most lane dominant. Question is, what can LGD do to stop Abel and PPGod being able to run around the map? They need a little bit of shallow vision so you can spot out Twitch from being able to just press Q and run into your lanes unseen. That's the difficulty of it. It's kind of like playing against an Evelyn in that regard too, where you kind of have to put wards onto the camps. The last time we saw the Twitch was last year from Assume versus Waver in 2023. So it's not like we've seen it for, it's not like it's not been on the table for a very long time. It's such a rare pick though. I remember back to 2014 when this was meta and we saw that, you know, Imp, one of the greatest players of all time on this. I remember when SKT T1, they played Twitch Zillion to take down Samsung White in one of their rare victories against them in 2014 as well. It's been a long time since that though. Champions changed a lot, the items have too. But OMG, I'm still looking to use it as, again, a bit of that assassin as soon as the vision control starts to slip from LGD. And as it starts right now, Xiaofeng and the rest of the crew have managed to get some good visions into bot side jungle.
They do try to make the most of this, and Nidalee doing her very best to be as obnoxious as possible. He's still one of the absolute fastest clears in the game. And of course, Xiaofeng started last game with a very clutch invade against Meteor that put Meteor in a very difficult position for large portions of the game. Meteor back on the rel, trying to make something happen early on, and Angel is kind of just trying to stay away from Haichar best they can. He's got the gold card still locked in, refusing to throw it quite yet, and forces Haichar to be a little bit careful. But Meteor about to run into a level 4 Nidalee, needs to be a little bit afraid. Needs to canter away, but still needs to be afraid. Javelin toss just wide.
Xiaofeng's been contesting Meteor a little bit on these early camps through a spear into the Raptors as well. Didn't manage to steal them, but managed to just, again, keep eyes on Meteor. One of the big things about the modern meta of League of Legends really is about, it's a good hook there from Ginger to get PPGod on the turret, is that you're trying to battle ward and just say, can I get eyes on the enemy jungle? I don't necessarily have to mess with them, but it's just about making sure that they're on the table and they're not kind of slipping off a vision and getting something done, especially with something like the Nautilus and the Rel combination. They could have slipped into bot side early, so OMG, honestly, one of the most important things they could have done is kept Meteor out of bot lane for the first few levels. First reset is now achieved. Recurve bow, very important for Twitch as well. A lot of your damage comes through you know, your full E stacks. Any early attack speed can really help this champion.
Question also becomes, I'm assuming the Lethal Templars will be an AD.
Well, I already talked about that, yes.
So yeah, cool. I was busy.
I talked about that. So there are 3 items that you're looking for in terms of the Twitch. With the recurve bow, you're almost certainly going to, well, you can go towards the Kraken Slayer, but you can also go towards Blade. Collector is also a good early item, especially in this game where there's, I mean, there are a couple of tanks. Maybe you don't want to go towards that as much, but it's very good at killing the backline. And then, of course, you've got the Hurricane as well. So you've got Blade, Kraken, Collector, and, of course, the Hurricane as well. And we'll see what combination of those items he thinks is appropriate for this game.
Occasionally, we've seen things like Rage Blade back in the day.
No, not right now.
No, not right now. Xiaoye now in a dangerous position pull back with a flash handshake, has to run away. The flash and the cleanse both down. Will not quite fall, but the health bar is desperately low.
Abel pops out the Q as well. Again, that kind of unseen ambush as well can do a lot of damage when you kind of get the extra attack speed up with that too. The Q and the recurve bow in early game. It's a lot more damage than you think. One of the big problems with Twitch is that obviously he's just very squishy and doesn't have that much wave control. It's not really about his damage. It's just about how conveniently he can play through this laning phase. And as you can see, Jin Zhao and Xiaoye massively far behind in goal in terms of farm between the two of them than you'd like to see against a Twitch Renata. Twitch is a massively weak early game laning champion. If he gets through this, he is happy as hell though.
Oh yes, and the fact that Nautilus has been denied some of the farm, the Sen has been forced back a number of times. You're feeling pretty good so far about this answer, and this is something that Abel's always had in his wheelhouse. These weird champions. He is a Nymaera player, a Draven player, a Neela player. You know, some of these more unusual champions outside of your standard pro wheelhouse are Abel's wheelhouse.
And this comes back to a larger topic as well. OMG, they kind of suck when they start to play normal, because you can just tell it's not their comfort. They are comfortable when they're pulling out the weird stuff, when they're innovating. Last year it was the same with, you know, Aki, Shanji, and of course Cream in the mid lane. Even with a different top side, it's very different. Xiaofeng, I'm really liking what he's doing. Aggressive early junglers, just making sure they can keep his lane safe here as well. This has been the prominent style of League of Legends, which you see from T1, you see it from BLG, you see it from Genji as well. The jungler is not always there to gank. They're there to make sure that your lanes don't have to deal with the enemy jungler, and they can make sure that they can have a good early laning phase.
You were talking about that when you were doing some reviews of T1 Genji, right? That part of the reason T1 fell apart versus Genji is they couldn't do that. The lanes weren't able to play with the knowledge that the enemy jungler couldn't get involved.
And though it's a region apart, the thing is that both of these regions inform each other. I would love to know what's happening in these scrims. I'd love to know if Twitch has made it through to other things. Twitch was banned against OMG in an earlier series as well. And you wonder what they've been doing to some of these poor teams if it deserves a ban at that point. But see already, OMG through early lane dominance from the Udyr top side, from the jungle farm, from bot lane doing well as well. OMG have got themselves a good early gold lead, and they're starting to get towards their level 6. Abel is left alone in a 1v2 in bot side, which potentially could have been a little dangerous, but Abel is completely safe down there for now. I am very interested to see what happens once that level 6 is hit. Angel has himself level 6 as well, and you've got Xiaofeng heading down. Potential of the ult here. Here we go.
Destiny Gates on in. It's a good hook back, but Angel's tanky enough to deal with it. Oh, the handshake is phenomenal. First blood comes away. Xiaofeng on the Nidalee lands that javelin toss, and OMG are off to the race in this game. Only got a single kill, but already 2,000 gold up.
And this is just some of the real potential that OMG have with this kind of combination. You look at the fact that anyone slips out of position, if anyone's not tanky enough, if anyone's not got the wave control they want, they're going to get jumped on by 3 or 4 people coming out from different ways. It really does feel like the vermin tide comes across as well. And we'll see exactly what happens now that Abel is at a good amount of CS, gets himself a plate down in bot side as well at some point. This is a very, very scary Twitch.
Nice hook. That actually might cause some
Here comes
problems.
the ult.
The turnaround there means Abel begins to unleash the spray, and Prey comes on through.
Oh, no.
I still remember the old version of Rat-a-tat-tat, and the Nautilus doesn't quite go splat.
That's good. Thing is though, it's actually come out now for wave clear. I was like, oh, he can pull it out. He's just put his Q and he's looking towards Xiaoye. I actually hadn't put that out yet. I was like, hang on.
You said it, so I just kept going.
So folks, just a little bit drawing the curtain back, yeah. Because we don't have like clean audio feed, we don't hear a lot of the game sounds, so I see the W come through and I see him raise his gun up. I'm like, is that the old animation or is that just his regular auto?
Can't hear it, yeah.
Didn't hear it on that one. Occasionally you see that mistake coming through, but okay. On the gameplay stuff, so we're gonna ignore me being bad at this stuff. He's going towards the blade first item. Very strong first item spike, and it means that you can deal with the front line a little bit better, particularly if you're going towards, you know, there is going to be likely a frozen heart coming out of Jin Zhao. Important thing about that item is that Twitch attacks from so far away, this Nautilus won't get good frozen heart uptime, because if you look at that radius and Twitch is firing, and Twitch is firing from the edge of his ult range, you don't necessarily get the attack speed debuff onto the Twitch. You need to be kind of going into him at melee range at that point, which is not great. It is a decent range. It's just that Twitch, when he pops that ult, is so much longer than it, then you don't get easy access to him.
It's like doing a lot of value this game as well, because Meteor early on probably going towards something like the Knight's Vow. That's more health than resist. Aatrox, nominally a health stacker as a bruiser as well. Not going to have that much in the way of the resist. Any ways to deal with percent HP feels pretty good on the Twitch, plus the additional slows to keep people in range of your ult, so the Senna can't run away feels excellent.
And because Senna's also gone for the cleanse and doesn't have something like a ghost, it is harder for them to do anything. We're also at the point now where the map is starting to get a little bit broken, open into different ways that you can get onto the map. Angel doesn't have ult just yet. You can see that with the roams around the map, you just have to be petrified of where this Twitch turns up. I mean, for anyone that's played against, of course, Twitch jungle, obviously it's very apparent early into the game.
I'm an Evelyn player.
Yeah, stuff like that. When you play against this champion, rarely you realize, hang on, I need to be playing safer in a position where I'm used to playing very disrespectfully or looking for these big trades. You can't do that now unless you have good vision. And LGD don't right now. Twitch is currently in bot side. That's fine. Angel's getting his ult up a little bit just into the bit now.
Okay. One more grub taken. In goes PP God, but the other side, OMG just a little bit slow to get involved. Birdolph very low on the other side as Angel takes him down. Meteor goes in, gets a big hook onto PP God, who is immediately dragged down with that Magnet Storm. The damage back, pretty good. Grub taken as well. Birdolph flashes on in, gets another, but the damage back is beginning to fire on through as Xiaoyi's got nowhere to go. And OMG lose a couple, and yes, they lose the grub, but it's a triple kill somehow to this Nidalee. And yes, LGD get a couple grubs, but at what damn cost?
Well, Angel pulls out his Twisted Fate and says, okay, you can start pulling this burst combo out. We don't even need the Twitch right now. Angel, one of his best champions of all time, has been this Twisted Fate. Remember, this guy reached a World's Finals on Suning by playing the Akali and the Twisted Fate. This guy was so good at those champions. And you see him now on the AD variant of it, getting some great value to start getting those gold cards into Nidalee. It means that combo so nice later into the game. And now we're coming back out onto the fray. Lichbane for Xiaofeng, 4 kills up. Oh my god, that's an assassin. Abel has a blade fully completed as well. This is going to be now a very even more dangerous game for LGD. So what's happening here? You can see that LGD, they don't want to let the 5 grubs go over. They don't want it to be 5-6. PP God still goes too far forward. And this is a big problem, right? Because you are not going to be able to flash out because you flashed forwards and the combo's not come through. Birdol splits open the fight a little bit. But the problem for Birdol now is he doesn't have the World Ender. The extra healing's not there. The extra damage isn't there. That would have been a clean kill onto Cube, and he potentially would have healed through that as well. Instead, it is the 1-for-1. And it means that OMG's mid-jungle can clean up.
They still get a couple kills. They still get the grubs. 3 for 3 in the end on that front. LGD now facing down the barrel of a very scary Nidalee. Abel's just been kept in that bot lane, and maybe that was the problem as well. Junjia was there, but so was Abel. So you're in this 4v4 where 2 of the major players just weren't available. Dragon starting up now for LGD.
Look at this. Look how little they see. Abel is in the river. Popped his cube. Has ult. Doesn't have something like a hurricane just yet. What can he do in a fight like this? Haichao has package. There is a point of power, and Abel now comes out onto vision.
Where is this Twisted Fate going? The hook lands, the packet comes on over, but not huge amounts of value until actually you know who's hit on it. It was Abel. The bailout's there, and he survives. He survives. The rat poison doesn't work.
And he stays alive. The dragon is claimed, but once again, at what cost? LGD, 2 objectives in a row, fall apart in the fight.
Oh, that bailout value was so huge. The gold card afterwards as well. Yes, they get dragon, but they lose 4 people.
And even with Abel playing with his face, I think he's taken the Ratatouille a little bit too close to heart. So I need to actually be on their head. I need to be pulling the hair in melee range. Still lives. This man should not be alive. Send this person to rat jail. Either way, 2-0 and 3 extra plates. And OMG, they are so far ahead of the game now. Shia takes down another kill. As the game falls a little bit apart, but still, OMG, this composition they've pulled out, LGD, they are not prepared for this.
No, they were not, and you can understand why. Who is ready for Twitch Nidalee in the meta of today? I mean, obviously, Nidalee did get some buffs, and we've seen it played very occasionally, but this has been fun, I think it's fair to say.
And, yeah, there have been a couple of games this split which have reminded me why I loved OMG last year. So many people did. They were the fan favorite. They were the team of the streets. It felt like they were the team which everyone really wanted to pay attention to because they did the different stuff. They challenged the meta. They challenged other teams, and with games like this, despite all of the changes, you remember bits and pieces of that. Abel's used his Q by this point. It's on cooldown. The hook doesn't land directly onto him, but he has to dodge out of Haichao's package and everything else. But because nothing directly lands onto him at the start of the fight and instead it's onto PP God, he ends up able to survive through to the end of that bailout. And with the extra attack speed running beyond that too, then the Q resets, the movement speed with the ghost, it's so hard to run away from this AD carry.
Angel gets a little bit greedy for the plates, and Xiao flash Q auto. Feels pretty nice then. At least it's a shutdown, at least it's something back. And Senna, opportunity first, trying her very best to get towards the Blood Razor as well. Might still be their way out, their salvation in this game.
Well, they need to try and find a way to actually get a good front to back where it feels like the carries of OMG are all clumped up. They're not that mobile, the Twisted Fate and the Twitch, and they're definitely not that tanky. If you have a good enough engage from Meteor with a Profane Hydra from Birdle coming in, there is a chance where OMG clump up and they get burst out. But OMG have themselves the gold lead, they have control on the map. It's going to be a very hard situation for LGD to organize that kind of flight. Jin Zhao is going to get hit by... Oh my god, the damage from Xiaofeng!
And there's just so much continual CC.
They don't even need to dive. It's just like, that's a nice argument. Unfortunately, up, right, down, 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 500 kilogram Eagle Strike comes in and absolutely explodes the Nautilus.
I'm pretty sure Nidalee is a Cougar and not an Eagle, but maybe they'll rename that ability purely for this game. My days, Xiaofeng is very scary indeed on the Nidalee.
Xiaofeng, just any time that spear flies by, it feels like there's kind of like a siren attached to it, strategic launch detected. And so this guy, this jungler, has been such a revelation for OMG. He's not always had the best games. I don't necessarily want to see him on stuff like the Xin Sao, but when he goes on to the carries like the Viego, and now we see him with the Nidalee, this guy is such a pleasure to watch. And I'm so glad it feels like OMG have got themselves a bit of that mojo back, which they were playing with last year.
They finally have a style again, I think, which does feel pretty damn good. Abel on some of his weirder picks, Xiaofeng on some of those more high-resource champions. It's a very different beast to what we saw at the beginning of the split.
Also with Angel on global champions as well. You know, he's a big Taliyah player, he's a big player of this Twisted Fate as well. Even on stuff like the LeBlanc, which can kind of be semi-global with the way that you're ever-present hopping over walls, he has had such an important factor to his team, as opposed to sometimes the way has worked for him. I feel like it's been more inconsistent, but it feels like OMG, they're starting to get into their stride, and you know, if they win a series like this, it feels like they can be on their way to playoffs, particularly with teams like Weibo and LNG starting to trip up.
Yeah, exactly that. And also note, we've got about a minute or so until Dragon, LGD probably don't have to fight this one. In fact, I'd suggest they really don't. More in the sense that, you know, you are running with the Corki in the center. You've got time in some ways to play a little bit for the scaling as Birdle is going to find Angel, but Xiaofeng is here. I don't actually know how much he wants this. The spear lands, the Magnus Order buys some space, teleports now coming on through. This would be a huge shutdown. Glanted over to Birdle. They go too deep. Meteor gets
Twitch.
value. Twitch is coming though. Wait for the spray and pray to begin to be unleashed. Now can look for it. Throws down that cask to try and get some damage down. The depth charge interrupts though. Meteor likely to fall. Senna Q buys time. The ignite though from Abel makes it a 1-for-1. Junglers on both sides dead.
Abel comes in with 2 items, and you've dealt with one of the threats, but not all of them. He has a Rage Blade as second item. Didn't expect that one through. He has himself another Q. Cubes around the back, and I don't think they can disengage from this.
Using Stampede might have been an option. They do manage to get on out of that. I worried too. The advantage though for LGD is Birdle got the huge shutdown.
And he already had the Profane Hydra, and this is the worry. Birdle on the Aatrox, which he has done so well with this split, can be a huge flanking burst threat. And OMG, they don't have tanks besides Cube. If you can get beyond that Udyr and get into a flanking position, you can absolutely one-shot the backline, especially with this item breakpoint. I do quickly want to touch on some of the other item breakpoints though. Worth noting that on this patch, Corki does not have the interaction between Malignance and Eclipse. You don't have that. That was removed in 14.3, and we're currently on 14.4. Of course, we've got huge items coming from Angel, who has himself the Rapid Fire Cannon. And then we do have to talk about that Twitch build, as, well, he's going to not be here at this play, as it feels like Hydra is just going to die.
Yeah, I think that was the package that just went down as well. It was actually the Valkyrie Angel. And Junjo missing the hook, puts him under tower, has to back away. GD get away with it. The teleport was summoned. PP got here as well. Xiaofeng over the wall, throwing a javelin that goes a little wild, but his presence now known. This tower should still fall. And LGD refusing to give up just yet. They go on in. PP got low, but not dead. Abel here begins to fire again. The Magnus Storm to the backside buys some space, but they just can't quite do enough damage to the damn rat, who now has to deal with Abel over the wall. Can't quite get the kills though. Everyone's so low, but not dead. Oh, he was so close to glory.
Oh, it's a sinking ship, and the rat leaves the house as OMG. That could have been the play. You know, if he had a collector, it would have killed there because it works off of the passive, but he can't quite get it. And he flashes in, and not for the first time, we're left thinking, Abel, buddy, calculation's not quite there.
It does seem to have gone towards the older build. It has gone towards that Rage Blade. And you said, yeah, I just don't think it's that great on him right now, even when we were talking about it.
From every game that I've seen in terms of the Twitch mains I see coming through it, I understand it's better against frontline, but when you have something like the Collector and the Kraken Slayer and something like the Hurricane, it is so much work. You see that Abel goes too close to the engage again. You should not be in range of a Rel without that flash when your ult is running. You flash forward very nearly, double assassinates the carries, but it's not quite enough. And Shaya just about gets the Q to save the both of them for the last tick.
Poison there, the expunge not quite enough to bring low both the carries. They stay alive. An LGD reminder, Corki Senna do scale exceptionally well. Getting some gold, getting some towers is critical to staying in this game, because eventually those two champions are going to be mighty hard to deal with.
They are, but maybe if Abel doesn't get hit by a full combo from a Rel and flashes into his death, maybe we'll see a different story. Of course, even the bailout wasn't there to save him at that one particular point. Either way, back onto the map. OMG, one thing that's worth noting, if they're not ahead of the game, their composition is very hard to play. You have a Nidalee who is not very consistent. You have a Twitch who needs to be playing on vision at that point too, which is very detrimental to his character. He's off of vision right now, has the Q, Spear lands. Shaya could just get, he has no summoners.
He's dead, surely he's dead. Expunge about to come on through the poison. Not going to quite work because there's still a piercing darkness, but now the Destiny Gate can come on through. Angel on the other side begins to do some damage. Haichao goes over the wall, the center already gone. OMG winning out this fight with style. That one looks a lot better.
Angel on the Twisted Fate comes in and cleans up shop. If you make a mistake as LGD, the thing is, there's way too much ability to kind of cross walls, the big ultimates, or flank into a position to close out this game. It needs to really be Birdle being the one doing that for LGD, but when you've lost vision control, it's so hard to do so. OMG will claim Baron. They're going to get even more gold in hand, and with two minutes on the Dragon as well, they can get themselves to a soul point throughout the duration of this Baron buff. Going to be able to get themselves a clean reset beyond this point. LGD have had some good moments in this game, but they have continually fallen prey to the multiple tools that OMG have to kind of restart fights. The start of this fight is a spear out of anything else, and that's how fed this Nidalee can be. Abel doesn't quite get himself that damage calculation again. If you have something like the Collector, you can actually assassinate here. I wonder if that item now at multiple points would have given so much more value. And even though LGD try and reclaim their battle lines, the damage has been done. Even with the start of the fight being a little bit messy. Back out onto the map, Baron buff claimed, extra items almost in. Almost 3 items for OMG.
Also very, very close to making this a 2-0. This one, reminder though, of course, in the last game, did throw from a similar position briefly, and LGD did find their way back into a game that felt really unlosable. But now we are in a position once again where the snowball is complete. This Twisted Fate, this Nidalee, all very, very scary. Abel is very, very deep, and this might be a problem again. We'll have the bailout surely, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive quite yet, and does go down. On the other side though, Senna is eviscerated by Cube, and LGD, they go very deep to make the pick happen, but it puts them out of position.
What is Abel doing? Is this Twitch or is this Mickey Mouse? I don't know, man. This dude is like, he has this red entered public domain, and it feels like LGD can own this one now. I'm not gonna keep doing that, but either way, Abel, buddy, you gotta stop giving freebies over. I know that Mickey Mouse is public domain, but let's not give it for free, hey?
Oh boy, and in fairness, LGD were very far up and Cube was already behind them, so in some ways being there was a risk. Haichao very low from the combo from the TF, and the Corki immediately has to run back towards the Fountain. Chaye flat tries to get on into Piercing Darkness to save people. Birdle does a lot of damage, doesn't quite get the kill. Xiaofeng flashes away. Cube coming on over. Birdle can't quite get in range, but still managed to buffer his way through the queue, trying to do some damage. Angel gets bailed out, stays alive, but the package in the backside means there's already a couple kills down onto Haichao on the Corki. Can Valkyrie over the wall, but he needs to not go to Valhalla quite yet, as Cube must run. The Blazing Stampede does go absolutely nowhere as Haichao guns him down, and LGD are still going to lose out on a Dragon as Angel just gates out to claim that.
Why does this team always throw after they've taken their first Baron? OMG, this series, they have not been clean at closing out games in the way they have been earlier in the split. What OMG were doing earlier in this split was they were struggling to get the early game leads, but when they did, they'd close out. Now they're getting the leads, but they don't know what to do with them. Abel, dude, you gotta chill. This guy has had a couple of moments this series where he's put the game into serious question, and particularly when you're against someone like Birdle and this Aatrox turn up and have so much damage against a hyper squishy composition, It feels like OMG are going a little bit too far. Yes, they get themselves the first kill, almost get themselves the second, but look at the lethality Aatrox. Once you have this Profane Hydra, you are just a one-man flanking machine. If you get onto the squishy carries, the game can just end. They do luckily close them down, but the damage is done. And LGD get themselves some important kills and shut down the last of this Baron buff.
Birdol maybe is a dream here, the way to potentially get back in. They get some important shutdowns. Yes, the base still broken. Baron not available for a couple minutes, and Dragon was still secured by Angel. Now maybe a turnaround and a massive pick onto Xiaofang. Another death.
As soon as you see everyone squaring up like that, you have to be looking out for that hook. LGD, they have the tools to punish the squishy composition from OMG if they aren't just kind of ramming them under the turrets and saying you can't move from here and look for your engage.
The big pick, and you begin to start to worry again. They've got themselves Redemption Locket from PP God alongside the bailout to try and keep somebody alive, but you cannot give away free stuff like this. Not at all, especially as Xiaofang's still not quite enough gold to finish off that Zhonya's.
That's an important thing to work towards, because it feels like that will be the ability to go in for assassination and then survive. The thing is, you're not going to be able to survive very easily against the 3-item Corki who has a Shojin built up as well. It's not the Eclipse build anymore, but this Shojin very much adding on to that damage profile. You get those 4 stacks up and you get the 12% extra damage on top of that. However, 3 items though from Angel and Abel, very, very important. Hurricane means that if Abel finally gets a fight where he's not caught by just a truckload of CC, OMG can very much run over the damage portfolio for the rest of the fight.
Eyes on Birdol as well. 3 items on this Aatrox. Very ready and willing to throw down in that backline. Made it happen the last time it's able though. Still too very scary. Xinjiang needs to be very aware about his potential to be burst out. Doesn't quite get the full stacks of the poison on top, and the expenditure doesn't do huge amounts yet, because of course this is the farming Nautilus. It's tankier than a normal variant would be.
It does mean that you have a little bit of extra time to close that door on the front line. How much time will you have, though? Again, this vision control from OMG, very important, because it means that Twitch can choose his angles like this.
Does a lot of damage. Birdol! No! But he goes in! Bailout's there and he's dead! Abel! What was that decision?
He flashed into the hook. He tried to flash over it and gets massively outplayed. Once again, the rat goes splat and the vermin tide is stemmed once more. Angel is now trying to play some, I don't know, defensive countermeasures on the top sides and says, let's just try and get this map split up. But that is a huge mistake from the man in the bot lane.
It's such a mistake. There's no wave here right now as Cube managed to clear it out with some Stormborn wings, as Cube still healing up, of course. The Iron Mantle doing its work to keep his HP topped up. In the picture-in-picture, though, Angel still disastrously strong. Solo kill. That means another turret goes down. This Twisted Fate Scary can look to gate back in or out.
Angel trying to pick up the pieces from the mistakes of Abel. He pops the Destiny. He can get himself the full inhib and then teleport out if he wants to. Actually, it's just a lap, so he's going to be stuck in the base.
Doesn't really have an easy way out.
Oh, the Hex Gate.
Oh, the Hex Gate. And the flash as well from Xinjiang doesn't work out. Angel does not have his wings clipped.
Oh, and this one really is the Guardian Angel of OMG. Do you believe in miracles, folks? Angel's trying to make them happen. 7, 1, and 10, making up for the mistakes of his AD carry.
Gee, they've certainly got a couple creatures on their shoulders. Abel perhaps playing the devil this time around, going a little bit too deep, a little bit too impulsive. The fight begins. On the other side, Stun tries to go on through onto Abel, who's still unleashing ungodly amounts of damage. Still dies as Birdol tries to make use of his Profane Hydra to the best amount he can, but the Charnel House just will not work out quite yet. Angel still doing filthy things. It's a triple kill to the Aatrox, who still falls down. Zhenzhao falls. Full ace with the exception of the Corki, and it looks like OMG will still win the game.
Huge amounts of damage put out across both sides of the team, but it's the angelic figure on OMG that comes out on top. Angel really securing this game. 2 sloppy games in the mid game from OMG back to back. But somehow, someway, it looks like they're able to clean up shop. They're going towards 3 inhibitors. Can they close the game? With Meteor coming up soon, I think it's 3 inhibs and out. But either way, OMG, with that amount of pressure, feels like that should be the death blow to this game.
pull away. There's a Hex Soul available to them. They get all of the inhibitors. So this Aatrox is trying. Birdle, my god, is doing unspeakable amounts of damage. Something about Profane Hands and Charnel Houses and Frankenstein just aren't quite enough right now.
Something quite poetic about the fact that we have the Angel trying to redeem OMG's mistakes. On the other side, it is the World Ender, the demonic entity himself. Aatrox, he's not actually a demon, he's just a failed Ascended himself. Maybe a bit of a fallen angel on the other side, trying to bring about some profanity in this game. If either of these guys are alive midway through a fight, you have to start really questioning whether the fight is done. It's not easy to track what's happening in these fights. Another Q from an Aatrox, another gold card from the 2 Twisted Fate. That could solve things. Back to the Baron.
Here we go. LGD wants to try and find something back. They're going to deal with Hex Soul now. And against the Twisted Fate and the Nidalee who can proc it so easily, it gets so difficult.
Can Angel also rush towards the base? There's a teleport into the fight. Here comes the TF ult.
Look at this fun for once. Abel untouched. Finally chunked out, but it's bailed out, does die. But on the other side, brings down a couple. Corki, free firing. Corki doing work and Birdle here as well. OMG lose this fight.
Abel is not untouched again. For the first second he is, and then everyone just lands into his lap. And it feels like OMG, they once again flubbed the direction to this fight. Xiaofeng, he's alive on this Nidalee. It's hard for him to team fight right now. And Birdle has so much damage. Root lands. This could be dangerous.
Oh, Birdle lands a Q1. Flash out of the Q2. Birdle, no, World Ender though. Means he falls. Angel is just monstrous. This deck is just stacked with nuclear warheads. Xiaoya runs away, but Senna, there's nowhere to go but your own last embrace. The cleanse comes on down. Still not enough. The wild card just wide, but the javelin toss as well, not quite there. Throwing another wild card out. Xiaoya must run, must stay away, must try and keep out of danger. A Hex Gate comes on through and PP God is here, and you have the bigger energy, the man with the handshake.
It's going to be Shia going down. It's an extended death timer too. That's going to be a bit of an awkward situation here from LGD. This Senna not going to be up to help with the base defense. And while all this is happening, wave clear duty was abandoned for a brief moment for LGD to win that fight. So they lose 1 and 0.9 of an extra turret, which means that when you have Angel being able to teleport into the base, it feels like this should just be game over. Angel, 12, 1, and 12. He is not willing to let go of the game's fumbles.
He is full build, soul boots. This Twisted Fate will annihilate anybody who is hit with the gold card.
We've got ourselves a bit of Billy waiting to tell us the end of this game. What will happen? The stream freezes just very, very briefly, and we're into the base.
Abel steps on forward, begins to unleash again, does so much damage, the damage back is good, but it's just not stopped this time. Abel gets Junjiao, and now the base exposed. Nexus going down, Abel flashes on forward. This time, he makes it work. The triple kill comes out, and the coin flip works. OMG, again, have to work harder than they should have, but it is a 2-0.
And they cook this time up something a little bit ratatouille-like. Twitch maybe burned himself a little bit of that food a little bit later on, but OMG, they close out a 2-0 series. LGD, sadly for them, this is pretty much the end of their playoffs hopes, as slim as they might have been. We will be moving towards our second series of the day. FPX versus JDG follows this one as OMG seal our first series of the day.
Breathe a sigh of relief, and there's a lot that they can go, yeah, that felt good about that game, and there's also a lot where they're going to have to go, that wasn't great.
Thank you so much again, folks, for joining us on our weird and wonderful ride through the LPL. As it gets a little bit strange here sometimes. We like to keep things. We like to keep things as solid as we can here, and thanks everyone for tuning in. I am really quite disappointed in Abel's team fighting that game. Abel gets caught in every single team fight. Now, some of them, when you have like a Flash Aatrox getting your Qs onto you, that's reasonable. Some of them were absolutely horrific mistakes from him, though. The Flash into the Nautilus hook, not so good.
No, you can't make that mistake. The one where he flashes over the thick wall to try and get both AD carries, you could see the angle. He was so close.